The greatest NBA playoff moments usually come from heated games where everything is on the line. Buzzer beaters, dunks, defensive stops, you name it, the playoffs have a plethora of legendary moments coming from NBA all-time greats. Don't forget to watch today's video till the very end as we're bringing you the top 10 NBA playoff moments. Number 10. LeBron and Celtics, Game 6, 2012 ECF. LeBron Raymond James Sr. is an American professional basketball player for the LA Lakers of the NBA. In 2012, King James was already known as the best player in the league, and the Michael Jordan comparisons were all over the place. However, he had yet to accomplish his biggest goal, winning a championship. To do so, he had to lift his Miami Heat over Paul Pierce and the Boston Celtics. In a pivotal Game 6, down 3-2 in the series, LeBron went for 45 points on 19 of 26 shooting, 15 rebounds, and 5 assists. And he did so on the road at TD Garden. The Heat went back to Miami and took the series. The Heat went on to win LeBron's first NBA championship against the OKC Thunder. Number 9. Larry Bird's infamous steal. Larry Joe Bird is an American former professional basketball player, coach, and executive in the NBA. Nicknamed the Hick from French Lick and Larry Legend, Bird is widely regarded as one of the greatest basketball players of all time. We don't know about you, but we can't see or hear Larry Bird's name without immediately thinking about announcer Johnny Most's famous call during the 1987 Eastern Conference Finals. Down by 1 against Detroit, an ill-advised inbounds pass was stolen by Bird, who flipped a pass to Dennis Johnson for the layup with just a second remaining. The Celtics won the game and eventually the series. Number 8. The legend Bill Russell, 30 points, 40 rebounds. William Felton Russell is an American former professional basketball player who played as a center for the Boston Celtics of the NBA from 1956 to 1969. Now coming on the list is a moment we mentioned count in our best individual NBA playoff performances. In Game 7 of the 1962 NBA Finals, Bill Russell and the Celtics Lakers faced the Los Angeles Lakers in a game for the ages. Russell finished with 30 points and 40 rebounds as Boston won 110-107 in overtime and hoisted the championship trophy. Number 7. Magic Johnson, Jr. Skyhook. Earvin Magic Johnson Jr. is an American former professional basketball player and former president of basketball operations of the LA Lakers of the NBA. After fighting back from a 16-point deficit in Game 4 against the Celtics, Magic and the Lakers found themselves down by 1, inbounding the ball with mere seconds left. Getting the ball to Magic, he looked for a jumper but found Kevin McHale in his way. He dribbled towards the foul line and launched up his own version of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's skyhook, which ended up being the game winner for the Lakers, who took a commanding 3-1 series lead. After the game, Magic dubbed the shot the Junior Skyhook. Number 6. Greatest playoff ever played. Boston vs. Phoenix doesn't sound like a duo that would be involved in what many consider the greatest NBA game ever played. However, it was indeed the case. In Game 5 of the 1976 NBA Finals, the series was tied 2-2. This game had everything and then some. The game went to 3 overtimes, including an unacknowledged timeout by Paul Silas. That, if it had been granted by the refs, would have been a technical foul on Boston and given Phoenix a chance to win the game at the free throw line. In the second OT period, Phoenix's Paul Westphal actually used this rule to his team's advantage, putting Boston on the free throw line to save time, giving the Suns the chance to inbound from midcourt after the free throw. Gar Hurd sent the game into its third overtime with a buzzer-beating jumper off the ensuing inbound pass. In the third OT, Boston reserve Glenn McDonald rose to the occasion with many of his teammates fouled out, scoring 6 points and helping the Celtics finally win the game 128-126. Number 5. Mr. Clutch, 60-footer. Jerome Allen West is an American basketball executive and former player. He played professionally for the LA Lakers of the NBA. You might know him better as Jerry West, but in the 1970s, the Lakers guard was simply known as Mr. Clutch. No playoff moment better supports that nickname than in Game 3 of the 1970 NBA Finals against the Knicks. Down by 2 with 3 seconds to play, West took an inbound pass from Wilt Chamberlain and heaved a shot from half court, sinking it and sending the game to overtime. Note, NBA in 1970 had no three-point shot. If it had, the Lakers would have won the game in regulation instead of losing 111-108 in overtime. Number 4. Willis Reed helps the Knicks bag first title. Willis Reed Jr. is an American retired basketball player, coach, and general manager. He spent his entire professional playing career with the New York Knicks. In 1982, Reed was inducted into the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame. In 1996, he was voted one of the 50 greatest players in NBA history. From a purely statistical standpoint, Game 7 of the 1970 NBA Finals between the Knicks and the Lakers was unimpressive for Willis Reed. However, considering he tore a muscle in his thigh during Game 5 and didn't even play during Game 6, it was a miracle that he was on the court at all. Limping out on the court, he took the opening tip against Wilt Chamberlain and scored the first 2 baskets of the game. His grit, determination, and heart helped swing the moment in the Knicks' favor and propel the team to its first ever NBA championship. Number 3. Magic Shines Center. Irving Magic Johnson Jr. is an American former pro ball player and former president of basketball operations of the LA Lakers of the NBA. Game 6 of the 1980 NBA Finals will always be held as one of the greatest individual performances of all time. It's also one of the greatest playoff moments of all time. With a sidelined, back in Los Angeles, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the Lakers made the amazingly risky move of starting a rookie Magic Johnson at center. That's right, center. Magic was brilliant, scoring 45 points, grabbing 15 rebounds, and dishing out 7 assists. He did it all, leading Los Angeles to a Game 6 win and an NBA title. Number 2. Ball stolen by Havlicek. John Joseph Havlicek was an American professional basketball player who spent his entire career with the Boston Celtics, winning 8 NBA championships, 4 of them coming in his first 4 seasons with the team. Yet another amazing call by Johnny Most for the Celtics. In the last seconds of Game 7 of the 1965 ECF against the Sixers, the Celtics were up by 1 and guarding Philly's out-of-bounds set. Hal Greer readied to inbound the ball, but his main target, Wilt Chamberlain, was fronted by Bill Russell. Instead, Greer tried to send it deep to Chet Walker, but Havlicek baited him and tipped the pass, sending it to Boston's Sam Jones. Jones dribbled out the clock and won the series. But forget about our words and give a listen to Most's. They give us chills every time. Number 1. Jordan, final shot as a Bull. Michael Jeffrey Jordan, also known by his initials MJ, is an American former pro basketball player and businessman. He is the principal owner and chairman of the Charlotte Hornets of the NBA and of 23XI Racing in the NASCAR Cup Series. Just like that, the last dance is over. After 5 weeks of immersing ourselves in the Michael Jordan saga, we reached the end on Sunday night with the final 2 episodes. And finally, at long last, we got the answer to what happened in the 1998 NBA Finals. Turns out the Bulls won that one too. With Scottie Pippen ailing from a bad back and needing constant trips to the locker room for treatment just so he could stay on his feet, Jordan did what he had done so many times before in his career, put the Bulls on his back. He went for 45 points in 44 minutes, taking more shots than the rest of the team combined along the way. And with the game on the line and a potential Game 7 staring the Bulls in the face, he stole the ball from Karl Malone, then came down the floor and drilled the game-winning jumper over Byron Russell. The last shot of The Last Dance, it immediately became one of the most iconic plays in basketball history and produced a photo of equal magnitude. Framed from the opposite baseline, the image of Jordan poised in perfect form in midair, with the ball floating toward the rim and the entire arena transfixed, is legendary in its own right. The tension, the significance, the pure emotion it invokes resonates with everyone, basketball fan or not. With that, we end today's video. Don't forget to join us on the next one if you found our content interesting yet informative. See you again soon. Goodbye.